Well, it's not only lockdown that's kept us indoors this week on EMBN, it's actually the weather here on the border between England and Wales is absolutely tipping it down. But hopefully the time will be quite soon where we can get back out riding our bikes again and start hitting those trails good and proper. Well, maybe not hitting them too hard. And actually that's the topic of this week's show, is what fork should you choose for your e-mountain bike? Well, I might very well complain, stuck here next to my log burner. I'm sure that Chris is out in his freezing cold garden shed. Chris, you there?
I am there, yeah. It is pretty cold in here, Steve, and it's really windy today, so I do apologise if there is any noise.
Yeah, hey, so let's talk forks then. Obviously, forks are a crucial part of your e-mountain bike. It's the first point of contact. It's your defense when you're hitting downhills. It's your support, and obviously, it's a very, very important aspect of keeping your tyre glued to the ground. Now, choosing your fork is quite a complex business. After all, it does depend on what type of trail you ride. If you're riding smoother trails, then obviously a lighter, shorter travel fork might be good. Whereas if you want to get involved in some bigger business, then maybe a longer travel fork with wider stanchions could be just what you're after. And but there's so many other things as well. There's how much adjustment do you want? Do you go for spring or do you go for air? Plus, there's all those brands on the market. Chris, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, we've had e-bikes, specific forks around for quite a while at the minute. I think Fox were one of the first brands to launch e-bike rated forks. That was the 34 and the 36. We've seen that up front. And then we've had RockShox follow suit with the Pike and the Lyric. I think you can be pretty hard pushed to find an e-bike now without proper e-bike rated forks on it, to be fair.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier about do you go for more adjustment or less adjustment? Do you go for spring or do you go for air? But I guess now you've got the whole business of the e-bike specific side to things. I mean, what exactly do you get from an e-bike specific fork?
Well, an e-bike specific fork is all about strength. It's not all about lightweight. They're not machining all the crown out of it. They're keeping that material in there to retain the strength. Obviously, you've got thick stanchions, you've got a thicker steer on there. But I think if you're pushing that envelope a little bit harder, like downhill, free ride, big jumps on the e-bike, I think that's when you're going to need that bigger, stronger fork up front. Yes, I guess. Well, then we start talking about maybe for some riders a triple clamp fork such as the RockShox Boxer or the Fox 40, where the Boxer's got a 35mm stanchion, as the 40's got obviously a 40mm stanchion. Plus, of course, they've got dual crowns, which gives them so much more strength and stability when you're getting involved in the bigger terrain. But one of the problems with the triple clamp forks is you've got a reduced turning circle, which might not suit a lot of people who are riding trails. But the weight, there's a little bit of weight difference in a triple clamp fork, but I guess on an e-bike weighing 20 kilos, that's not really going to matter so much. Which makes me think, what about the new Fox 38? Well, funnily enough, you should talk about the 38, Steve. I think that is a bang-on fork for e-biking currently. It's beefier, stiffer chassis. But don't forget, RockShox are also working on that mystery fork. And, I've seen that a few black box on Instagram. That looks super exciting too, and that could be an amazing e-bike fork. But one fork I wish they would bring back would be the Totem. Now, I had a set of these back on my bike in the mid-2000s, I think that fork come out, and that was a rad fork. That is the fork that should be on the front of e-bike coming from RockShox. Anyway, that was an amazing fork. It's got perfect dimensions. It's not looking out of place like a little cocktail stick on the front of a Hippo. This is designed to match that big down tube, and that will look amazing if RockShox bring that back.
Ah, yes, the Totem. I remember it really well. I think, I'm going to dig some photographs out of that fork. I remember we had it on a 180mm travel bike. But I guess it depends, right? I mean, there's so many brands on the market. We talked about RockShox and Fox, but a fork that I really like the look of is that Intend fork, the upside down single crown Intend fork. Good. But you've got loads of other brands. You've got Boss, you've got Öhlins, you've got Manitou, and you've got Marzocchi. And then I guess the bottom line is it depends, as you say, what bike you've got. Now, a lot of people say that the Specialized Levo SL. It's got a 34mm stanchion fork in it. For bigger riders riding bigger terrain, they might have to upgrade to something a bit more burly. Chris, it just depends on the bike you're riding, right, and the terrain you're riding in.
Yeah, totally. As you say, exactly that, Steve. The type of riding, I think, is one of the main things, and the type of bike that comes into it as well. But yeah, it definitely makes a difference having that right fork up front to suit the riding style.
Time now then to move on to this week's news, and I just want to point out some first world problems going on right here in my front room, and my wife and my daughter are actually complaining how many crisps are in a Monster Munch packet. Can you actually believe that? What flavour you got there? Is that roast beef, pickled onion?
Roast beef.
What's your favourite Monster Munch, Chris?
Pickled onion's got to be my favourite.
Pickled onion. Well, looks like a few people have got in a pickle this week. Johan Borelli, and is that Isaac Leveson first of all?
Yeah,
on his...
Isaac Leveson. Yeah, launching a huge 360 as well. Check this out. It's probably one of the biggest ones I've seen. It's pretty inspirational. Coming up a little bit short on that landing, but props for sending that. That was absolutely huge. And as you mentioned, Johan Borelli as well, he's put a cool Instagram post up about all the reasons he rides an e-bike. You know, it gets him out of the house and it's good for little short stints, training, trail build, and the list goes on. But he's doing some real cool trial style riding in that post as well. So check that one out.
Yeah, now a bit of an EWS update, that's an EWS update. I was really looking forward to racing the series this year. It seems like the Valberg event has now been pushed forward to October and will run on the Saturday with the EWS race taking place on the Sunday. So entries will be pushed forward from that event. So hopefully, Chris, we can get stuck into that.
Yeah, dying to do that.
Dominique Thompson from Telford has pulled us up to say that actually there's females ride e-mountain bikes as well as males. Dominique, have to apologise on that. I know that my wife and my daughter, who are here in the room eating Monster Munch, do that at the same time. I'd actually like to pick you up, Dominique, and say what a fantastic job you and your husband are doing in nurses up in the West Midlands. Is it West Midlands? The West Midlands in Telford. Great job, nice one. Now, some great comments from you guys over the past weeks on our videos. Now, on last week's show, we actually talked about the increase in sales, in e-mountain bike sales, particularly in the UK. But obviously, that's one small part of the world. We've had a great comment in here from Robert Haskins out in Australia, who also sees a similar trend over there. And we'll actually be trying to catch up with people in the different continents over the next few weeks. Chris, this made me laugh based on your post-ride e-bike mistakes. Charge, ride, repeat. He says that one big mistake is riding home and then remembering that you actually went to your location in the van. That's absolutely hilarious.
I'm actually guilty of that one myself, Steve. I've actually done that before and had to go ride back out and get the van. Not fun.
Now, this next one is from Salma Hayek. Actually, didn't have my glasses on. It's not Salma Hayek, it's Sea Kayak. Right, sorry. Anyway, Sea Kayak says, in the winter, do not charge the battery when it is below 5 degrees C. It may cause damage. Let it warm up in the house first.
That's true. Yeah, not a lot of, sometimes even e-bike chargers won't work below that temperature. I remember being in my shed and thinking, why wouldn't my battery charge? And that was actually the problem. It was freezing cold. So yeah, definitely something to think about. Do
you know what? Some fantastic feedback from you guys the last few weeks, especially on some of the videos. Keep us comments coming. Keep getting involved in our videos. Great stuff. Right, a little bit of tech for you this week. Now, Chris and myself talked about high-power e-mountain bikes a few weeks ago, and I was surprised that actually Chris came up with a bike that was, I think it was it 1,000 watts or 2,000 watts, Chris?
1,000 watt motor, yeah, the Bafang Ultra on that bike, yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what? I've come across this lunar cycle. I can't remember if we talked about it on the show before, but in standard mode it's 750 watts with a 1,000 watt peak, but also you can get a ludicrous mode version, 2,000 watts, and this is a mid-drive bike, lunar cycle, $3,450. That's not bad, is it?
It's good, isn't it? And I see that 2,000 watt option, that comes with a throttle as well. So it's going to be pretty much a motorbike. But I think the thing about this bike is the value. It's a full carbon fibre frame. It's got SRAM Eagle on there, full RockShox front and rear suspension on there. I think for 3,400, it's got to be some good value in that, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it's got that Bafang motor. We're increasingly seeing these Bafang motors on bikes, especially the new Forest style bikes. So, you know, they're obviously, they are already a big player.
Yeah.
But I think they're certainly going to be on people's minds more in the future.
Right, it's time for Out and About. It's where we get to see what you guys have been up to on your e-bikes all over the world. What's kicking off, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you what's kicking off. Did you see what I just did there? Did you see what I just did there?
No, missed it.
The wife has brought in some fresh logs for the wood burner.
Nice.
There's a nice bit of oak there, I think you'll find. Actually, coming up on the channel in the next few weeks is how to build a sustainable e-bike specific e-mountain bike trail. Anyway, meanwhile, over in Saddleback Mountain in Southern California, Stefan Serfontaine is very, very happy on his new Cannondale Moterra. Wants to give a big shout out to Cannondale for making a do anything and go anywhere toy. Stefan, that looks an amazing spot down there. Chris, what else is happening around the world?
Well, we've got a nice bit of hardtail action going up on the Ridgeway, so not too far from here. This is Martin on his Levo hardtail up at Barbary Castle, Swindon, so not too far from here. So he's out and about on his son's 14th birthday, so he's got an e-bike, taking him up for a ride on the Ridgeway. Lucky to have all this on the doorstep. That looks a good trail.
Yeah, it's nice to see that some people are managing to get some fresh air, enjoying the smells of the woods in these difficult times.
Definitely. Oh, it looks like these guys have been putting in the work on the climbs. Check out the views on this, Steve. This is Mark on his 2019 High Bike 6 All Mountain. He's from Danville, California. And look at this, 4,000 feet of climbing up on my backyard mountain. I'd love to have a backyard mountain that big.
And some amazing colours going on here. Lars has been out sharing the trails of Santa Cruz on his Intense Taser Pro, riding some single track, and came across some water tanks with the current modern graffiti art.
Nice bit of graffiti on those. Wow, look at this nice lakeside trail to cruise along. This is Florian on his Specialized Kenevo Comp 2020. He's riding alongside the Grüner See, or the Green Lake, in Styria, Austria. Said he went for a little ride around the most beautiful lake. Almost everybody had hiked up there, but he's on his e-mountain bike and he's having a great time on his new Kenevo. Nice.
Do you know what? There's so many people having a great time on their e-bikes.
I know, it looks like it, doesn't it?
They're certainly not leaving them in their front rooms, are they? I mean, check this out on this bit of Red Rock, Colorado style. Howie on his trek rail in Lakewood. Oh, this is in Lakewood, Colorado. And a quote from him: "A beautiful, cool day in Colorado, and picking a beautiful place to ride a bike." Yeah.
That is cool, isn't it? We love seeing what you guys get up to all around the world. Don't forget, if you want to get involved in Where in the World or the Bike Vault, use the upload service, and it could be you on next week's show.
It could be you. It could be you. Right, is it hot or is it not? Is it nice or is it super nice? It is Bike Vault time, and it begins with Jonathan up in Pontefract on his 2020 Kenevo. Lovely pictures there by local artist Rachel List. That is super nice.
Nice, it looks like a Banksy in the background of that one. But
Banksy?
Wow, check out this. This is an epic view. This is Ranald on his Trek Powerfly FS5. He's up in Tweeddale in the Scottish borders. Says luckily he has areas like this where he can ride from his front door. Now that is a nice shot.
Yeah, and meanwhile, looking a little autumnal there with these leaves is Rob and his Turbo Lever SL. Well, he's on an SL carbon comp, Sherwood Pines, Nottinghamshire, testing out 27-point wheels. I think that's a nice shot. Nice shot.
Nice. Well, Bluebells are out in full force here. This is Paul with his Merida E16900. He's in the Were Forest, Bewdley. Listen to all your advice on tyre choices, sizes, compounds, etc. And you got these ones because they look cool. I think that's another nice shot.
And I think it's a nice quote because you just said the Were Forest near Bewdley. Talk to the wife. It's not the Were Forest, is it?
Wire.
It's the Wire Forest.
Damn.
Wire. Anyhow. Can't beat a bit of trig point action, can you? Andy's Cube Reaction Hybrid and Focus Jam Squared summit of Beacon Hill in Leicestershire. Our lockdown exercise riding to the top of Leicestershire. That is nice. What do you guys, it's quite interesting to see how many people are out and about at the minute. Canal Pass cruising, Chris. Canal Path
Yeah,
cruising.
Canal Path cruising. This is coming in from Simon on his Giant Trance E1 Pros alongside the Stourbridge Canal in Kinver, South Staffordshire. Road testing some new Renthal bars in the beautiful early evening and not a soul around. Nice.
Have we actually got a Midlands UK bias on this week's Bike Vault? I mean, Kinver, Wire. I mean, what's going on here? The wife, honestly, the wife is smiling. Here we go. Pavol, Slovakia. Specialized turbo lever comp, carbon 2019. Stretching the legs in the local woods. Yeah, Chris, gotta be super nice, right?
Super nice shot that is. Wow, lovely lump of granite there. This is Dan with his Cube Stereo Hybrid 160, parboiled, hilled in Wigan, Greater Manchester, out on a big morning ride, 40 miles, and enjoying getting lost in the countryside. I love getting on those big rides and getting lost myself. That's a nice shot as well.
Yeah, wow, look at these. They just keep on coming. Keith's Turbo Lever Comp and High Bike Hard 7 2019. Kent, Bluebell Hill and Burnham. Morning ride with the wife. That is super nice.
Gotta be, isn't it? Amazing view on that one. This is the last one coming up, Steve. This is out for a little bit of lockdown exercise. Chris on his 2020 Levo Comp Wisley Common near Woking. 13-mile, 1 hour e-mountain bike burn in the local area. But that is it. I think that is a nice shot too. But what are you thinking for bike of the week then, Steve?
The bike of the week, Chris. What about Keith with his wife?
It's got to be, hasn't it? I think, taking a couple of you out, nice bikes, nice view. I think that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, that is what it's all about. E-bikes is what it's all about, I think.
But don't forget, use the uploader, get involved, get those pics into us, and it might be you for Bike of the Week.
So that's it from this week's EMBN show. Now, we're really keen to hear from you guys about forks or e-bike specific forks. And we've actually been so busy over the last few weeks. We've got some really cool content coming on EMBN. I just want to give you a bit of a sneak preview. We've got how to build e-mountain bike trails. So, maybe an opportunity there for you guys to get out and about for a bit of exercise for an hour or so, and let us know what's happening in terms of you getting out on your e-mountain bikes as well. Don't forget to follow us on social media, and we will see you next week, hopefully from outside rather than from this smoking hot front room. Thanks. See you then.
Cheers.